Hi everyone, good morning. Today is Tuesday, April the 17th, and I am back for, I don't know even what number video this is, but maybe like 31 or something like that, getting up there. I have a whole bunch of stuff to show you today, a few things to chat about, some photos to insert, and so I'm hoping, really hoping to do this in 2 short videos, but we shall see if it turns out that way. Okay, so I have a couple of OFOs. That's actually a term in my industry. A couple of FFOs, only one of which is here, but the other several that I have are being gifted, or one of them has been gifted and another one is getting ready to be gifted. So I'm going to insert pictures here of the finishes that are being gifted. I have the little pillow for my friend Gail, the happy birthday pillow, and the tea towel that I embroidered in red work with the little girl and the dog, and those are both finished and in a box, a gift box with lots of goodies in it for her birthday, which we were hoping to celebrate last week. And we had a snowstorm and roads were bad, and so we had to postpone it and kind of pushed it to this weekend, and I think we're going to have to push it again to another weekend because of snow. Not because of snow this weekend, because of soccer. But at some point we'll celebrate, but I'm going to insert pictures here of the pillow and the tea towel, and then the box that, the box of goodies that she's getting. So I'm going to insert a picture here of Gail's 2 finishes and her gift box. Okay, and then I'm going to insert a picture here of what I finished for Deb and put in her gift box. And I don't think we already celebrated Deb's birthday, and I don't think that I took a picture of her final gift box altogether. But what I did for her, one of the things I included in her little in her box was the Brenda Gervais lessons in Abecedarian, I think is how you say that, but the summer schoolhouse lessons. And from the moment I saw this one, I was infatuated with these little minis and putting them in mason jars and putting a few little extra goodies at the bottom. And I thought those were so much fun. And so without reading directions or looking at the chart really, or doing really anything, I pulled some fabric and I started stitching the HIJK for Deb, just because I liked this little lady and how she looked. And as I'm stitching along, I'm thinking, wow, this is going to have to be a pretty big mason jar. Like, this is kind of turning out rather large. And when I was about 3/4 of the way finished stitching this, and I stitched it over a couple of days last week, I ran to Michael's and got a giant mason jar and realized that I was supposed to stitch this on 28 count 1/1, and instead I was stitching it on 32 count 1/2 or 2/2. And so I did put it in the mason jar that I purchased, and I put some buttons in the bottom and decorated the mason jar, and I'll insert a picture of that here. Not my best work, I have to admit. It's kind of stuffed in the mason jar. It doesn't really look the greatest, but here's the deal. I put it in and there was no getting it back out. So I went ahead and gave it to Deb along with several other goodies, and now I've pulled some 28 count fabric that I coffee tea dyed and plan to stitch both of these for myself 1/1 and put them in regular size, you know, the smaller size mason jars that look like that. So anyway, that was kind of a fail on my part. I also picked up lesson 1, which looks like this, lesson 3, which looks like this, and lesson 4, which looks like this, and plan to do those all as summer smalls for my little cubby that I decorated for Easter. So that was one thing, and a few FFOs in that. And then the other thing that I did was I finished needle punching the little whale that I showed you several months back, and then found a frame at Hobby Lobby, which was a fish frame, and inserted it in that frame and put some leafy stuff that I thought kind of looked like seaweed around it, and I'm going to insert a picture of that here. Along with, it started hanging up in the master bath, along with 2 needlepoint projects that I did several years ago with lighthouses. I'm doing a lighthouse series of needlepoints for my master bath. So the first thing you need to know is the whale needs to be redone. That frame is too white. It's too stark, and I don't like the way it looks. I want to pull the needle punch out, pull the leafy stuff off, and paint the fish, the actual picture frame, maybe in a scruffy blue of some sort, but something very muted, and then reinsert it, and I think it'll look better. The 2 needle points I framed myself, and you can see what a horrible job I did of framing those. And someday, one of these days, when I just, have money to burn, I will get those professionally framed. I'm going to insert a picture here of a needlepoint that's on the other wall, the far wall from that, also kind of in that series, but I think this was the first one I did, and it did not have a lighthouse in it, so I'll insert a picture here. That frame's a little bit better, even though I did frame that myself, it works, but it's, yeah, not the best framing in the world. More on needle punch, or more on needlepoint here in a second. Okay, the last FFO that I have is from a pattern by Kitten Stitcher. And her name just went right out of my head. I was going to write it down, and then I thought I don't need to write this down. Anyway, Kitten Stitcher here on Flosstube. She also known as Shakespeare's Peddler. I know that in her patterns, but she put together a pattern that was a kind of a twist on the old-fashioned candle wicking. I did candle wicking in the 80s, and candle wicking back then was a piece of muslin and a piece of white pearl cotton and French knots. She does a twist on this, and I forget what her name is for these knots, but she has a fabulous tutorial with this pattern, and then a finishing tutorial also on how to finish this. And so I got it all done. So here is my chicken wicking, which is what she calls it, my chicken wicking, and then went to Hobby Lobby and got the actual product that she bought for finishing completely FFOing this, and did exactly what she said to do. Got the stuff to put inside, put the little button here, put the cotton on top. The only thing I didn't do was rust this up. I liked the way that looked just fine, so I left that alone, and I have this hanging up in my kitchen, and I couldn't be more pleased with it. This is a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that chicken wicking. I loved the knot that she taught us how to do in her tutorial. I also finished this exactly the way she showed to finish it, with fabric on the back and sewing the 2 pieces together here. So this is 2 different fabric covered pieces of cardboard, and then that are hot glued in the middle and then sewn together, stitched together, and really pleased with how that turned out, tied on the back. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun, and I think that that works really well in my kitchen. So, okay, I'm at 10 minutes already. On to the next thing. So, some new haul with new starts. I'm going to do it all together. I happen to be on 123 Stitch looking for one color of thread that I actually needed for Summer Schoolhouse series. And do you know how on 123 Stitch it'll say like if you're interested in this product that you've just ordered, you may also be interested in the following products or the following charts or whatever. And this popped up, and I've seen this before and considered it, and it was a moment of weakness, mostly because it's Plum Creek Samplers, which is I just find her patterns so awesome. But this is Plum Street Samplers Heritage Sampler. It looks like this. I absolutely love every single thing about this chart. And I got just the ever so tiniest start on this. Doing this on a piece of coffee, and exactly what the model was stitched on, 36 count vintage exemplar, and 123 Stitch didn't have vintage exemplar, so this is just a piece of it was a piece of, I think, ivory linen, I forget what brand, and then I lightly, I actually didn't coffee tea stain it, I just tea stained it. I didn't put coffee in it. I didn't want it to be very dark. And got ever the tiniest start here in the very center. Let me move this for you. Sorry, I forgot to take my needle out. The 1776 is stitch 1/1. And yeah, it worked. It came out, and then the beginnings of this and the beginnings of the boat and the little guy standing on the edge of the boat. And I love this. I think this is just beautiful. It's just right up there with all of Plum Street's awesome charts. Paulette is just phenomenal. But I really I love the pilgrims. I love the pumpkins. I love the eagle up here. I mean, just everything about this chart is just fantastic. This was an old purchase that I had not started. It is the Lizzie Kate Christmas Rules, and so you've all seen this. Priscilla finished this, and it's awesome. I love it. I actually pulled some of my own fabric and I'm also working on Halloween rules, and I tried to start it and realized I had cut the fabric too small for both of these, so ran into Julie's and got new fabric a month or so ago. And on Sunday, because we had snow and rain and sleet and yuckiness here both Saturday and Sunday, I got a start on Christmas rules for Santa Sunday. And this is my start, and I'm loving this. I've changed up a couple of the flosses only because Julie didn't have exactly what it called for, but I think it's turning out just fine. I think it's this green here is just a little different color, but the red is the red that it's called for, and I just absolutely love this. So the very first one is Be Kind and of Good Cheer, and it looks like that, and that will be the first one in the chart. And yeah, so I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna work on this every Sunday for Santa Sunday. Okay, then I got a tiny start on the Bless Our Home Sal that Priscilla and Chelsea are doing, and it is a Country Cottage Needleworks Bless Our Home, and it looks like this, and it's very precious. I got ever the tiniest start on this on Monday night, I believe it was, and there's just the beginnings of the door. I'm doing this in a combination of Priscilla's colors and the original colors that are charted. Okay, I'm going to go on to video 2. Stand by.